a gentleman who is known to many of you. All right, Gary Griffith, political leader of the NTA. He's the candidate for Arangwa St. Joseph. And we also have Nicolene Taylor Chinchamee, the NTA candidate for Aruka Lopinot. Thank you very much for coming this morning.
You're welcome.
All right, so let's get right into it, Mr. Griffith. You think that, well, what is your party offering? And I ask that because I think, as I said, a number of manifestos have been launched, and in some cases, manifestos. And I think that sometimes there is so much traffic that sometimes the message is lost. So again, what is the NTA offering to the electorate?
Good morning, Marlon. Good morning to your many viewers. What the NTA is doing is just providing the opportunity for persons who would like a change. We know that there are 200,000 PNM and UNC till they die. That is their right. Going back to 1981, there should always be an option other than the PNM and the UNC. The ONR, it moved to the NAR, it moved, which Kamala Prasad-Bissessar was part of, it then moved to the COP. 17 years, 18 years later, it means persons between the age of 18 and 35 never had a third choice. That is what we are providing, and our type of politics is just totally different. It's the same thing like the Congress of the People, basically, in 2007. We don't have a manifesto. What we have is a roadmap towards transformation of Trinidad and Tobago. You go on ChatGPT, it actually stated that we had the best out of all the other 17 political parties because we dealt with it like a business. We looked at finding ways to reduce incompetence, bad management, corruption, utilize the funds in another way, and not manifestos, which have been something lies for the last 6 decades by political parties with empty promises, no cost-benefit analysis, no structure, and then you're not seeing how you're getting revenue to offset the expenditure, which can become a byproduct of having devalued the dollar, having to take loans or increase taxes. So that's what we're doing. We're just providing a different type of politics. I do like to take this opportunity to thank Trinidad and Tobago. So far, the election has been run in a clean manner. It is hoped that it can continue, and really and truly, I can't wait for the nation to exhale at midnight on the 28th of April, because it seems that everybody claims that they're going to win.
Yeah. All right, so let's bring in Nicolene Taylor Chinchamee, the NTA's candidate for Aruka Lopinot. Again, Nicolene, thank you very much for coming this morning. Nicolene, let's start off this way, because I would want you to introduce yourself to our viewers this morning. So tell us a little bit about yourself and why the decision to enter politics.
Okay, good morning again.
Yes.
I'm the candidate for Aruka Lopinot. My name is Nicolene Taylor Chinchamee. Why I choose to enter politics, it's about misrepresentation. Before I entered into politics, I'll give you a brief history. I am still part of Hunters Search and Rescue, and being on the ground there and seeing that both sides of political parties, the red and yellow, we have failed the people on the ground. And instead of just me crying out and saying why they are not doing their jobs, I said, let me be the change that I want to see. And that's why I was given the opportunity here by Mr. Gary Griffith and his beautiful wife, Nicole Griffith. And the journey has been wonderful. I've also entered into the local government election, which I won a few seats just as well. There I saw people wanting change, because the other political parties, when they try to go for local election in these areas, their results, well, the votes are really low. And based on my results, I realized that going out there and meeting the people and hearing their cries and their views, they really want change. And here now on the ground, it's the same thing echoing right through. So yes, I'm really happy to be part of the National Transformation Alliance. I'm happy to be serving the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Even though I have not won overall as being a councillor, I still am on the ground helping people, going around, making sure that everything is to do the best of my ability, right?
Yeah. Mr. Griffith, I want to get your perspective on, I think, some very important matters still to the electorate, all right? Of course, we have been dealing with a bad crime situation for a number of years now that has made its way to the political platform. Again, the economy, the Forex issue. So a myriad of challenges still facing Trinidad and Tobago, and I'm sure that the electorate would want to know your perspective on these issues.
Well, again, yeah, we have done it. Looking at our roadmap towards transformation, it is actually that. It is actually finding solutions not spending our time on the platform attacking, discrediting, trying to destroy the character of others. A political party actually hired someone who boasted that he's a social media prostitute, and his job was to lie to people. He actually was on your show recently. And that is not what we are about. Our job is to find ways and avenues to show that we can find solutions. The NTA is not one about trying to whoever is just having your party card that you're going to be part of it. We have worked with the Strategic Institute of Trinidad and Tobago. We have selected dozens of persons from different arms required to assist us in trying to lift the standard of living, be it health, education, the economy, sport, culture, tourism, national security, and finding solutions. When you only have persons with your party card, let's find a way to solve the problem. That's when you're getting the sort of results and the recommendations being made on the platform by some, even dealing with national security. It is pathetic. So we don't just look for persons in the NTA. We have expanded our base to get experts. They may not want to be political, but that is what we need. We need to put horses for courses. I am prepared to be the dumbest person in the room if it is that I'm a prime minister, but get the best persons available. When you have yes people around you, you're not going to have the right solutions. And what we have done is, if you look at that roadmap towards transformation, is showing that it is a clear, decisive direction that we have to show that we can transform Trinidad and Tobago. Not just the national security. We know that that's your most fundamental right. That's the biggest concern in the country. There isn't any other political party that can boast that they have the capability, the technique, the training, the qualification to reduce crime than the NTA. That's a fact. But we are much more than that. The same way that I was able to transform the police service, having a team, I have the same team that can transform every arm of the public service in Trinidad and Tobago.
Yeah. Nicolene, so I understand that you're from the constituency, Aruka, Lopinot.
Yes, I am. Yes.
As you walk the constituency, what are some of the niggling issues and problems for the constituency?
But for one, the roads,
Yeah.
the access roads. Lopinot is a valley where there's a lot of farmers. Access roads to their gardens and stuff, that is one of the main things. What I would say, transportation as well. Because of the distance to and from, there are villages beyond Lopinot. So there's La Pastora, there's the alley. So school children as young as 4, 5 years old going to preschool, it'll take them an extra hour or so to reach the school. So imagine the time for a little child to have to ready for, let's say, like 8:30 in the morning. They will have to leave from 5:30, 6. And it's really ridiculous. It's really ridiculous.
Yeah. Mr. Griffith, I want to get your perspective on recent allegations that have been made against the Elections and Boundaries Commission. In some cases, the EBC has been accused of colluding with the PNM. The UNC, I believe it was maybe a few days ago, it would have handed over a dossier to the observer team, that is one of the observer teams looking at this, monitoring this election here. Have you met with any of the observer teams, and do you have any concern about free and fair elections in Trinidad and Tobago?
I met with them a few days ago, and we've been meeting with the other observer team later this morning. And I am very confident and comfortable that the CARICOM observer team, that they are here, and they can be more than sufficient to assist us to ensure it's a free and fair election. I think it is very disappointing. I am very disappointed that political leaders can make accusations at CARICOM to say that CARICOM is not good enough. CARICOM is in bed with other political parties. But then you want to be a prime minister to be part of CARICOM come Monday. So that is not democracy, you know. That is more hypocrisy. You're questioning the independence of CARICOM observers, and then now you're attacking the EBC. This is exactly what the country we do not want. I'll tell you why. Because when it is that you make these accusations, it filters, it resonates throughout the country for the next 5 years. It can affect persons internationally. It can cause instability in a government, instability in a country, believing that the government really and truly is not the de facto government. That can affect a country. And if you have justifiable grounds for it, fine. But you don't. In 2020, the same thing happened. I mean, you're going to what? You're going to milli-vanilli and blame it on the rain? In fact, that's what they did in 2020. They blamed it because of the rain. So you can't milli-vanilli and keep finding excuses. It's either you win or you lose. But by making accusations on the EBC, they have made 1 or 2 mistakes, but there's nothing that they've made a mistake. It was deliberate and orchestrated with an intention to help any political party. I am very comfortable. I met with them. I explained to them certain things they need to look at, because what I believe is going to happen is that it seems to be a clear, targeted approach to point fingers and blame the CARICOM observers, blame the EBC if the results do not go to the way of a certain political party. I think it is rather unfortunate, it is unprofessional, and it is not the type of politics that we need.
Yeah. Nicolene, very straight question. We only have a few minutes again. But why are you the best candidate for Arouca Lopinot?
Because the people want me.
What?
Well, I can jump in just for information.
People want her, all right.
She went in. She was the. She went up for local government.
Yes.
And in an area where UNC was totally discarded, she actually took a seat where the previous UNC candidate in 2020, they lost by over 1,100 votes. She cut it down to 180, and that says a lot. She was able to cut almost 1,000 votes in local government election. That's a big number. And if she could do that in just one area in Arouca Lopinot, it shows that she has the type of charisma and the personality that can assist in turning around that direction for her constituency.
Yeah.
Yes, so the people just want someone that they could relate to that on the ground, not someone just hand them a set of promises, just being there for them. So I may not be able to do everything, but just being there with the people and in their moments of need. That's all they need.
Yeah. Mr. Griffith, before you leave us this morning, a few things. One, I see where you, over the past few days, you have still made, or you are still making a case for the third party in Trinidad and Tobago. That's one. And do you think that the message that you have been taking to the constituencies that you have walked, that they have resonated? And what's the overall vision of the NTA for Trinidad and Tobago?
Well, again, to unite Trinidad and Tobago, whereas other political parties have gone out of their way to cause division based on hatred, bitterness, race, ethnic composition, geographical location, political party affiliation, we intend to do just the opposite. I want to unite Trinidad and Tobago. That's how I've always operated. Walking around Arangba St. Joseph, if it is that shaking hands and waving to you was going to win an election, well, then I'll win by a landslide. But that is not how it is. Everybody loves Gary, but whether persons can break that, can transcend from that holding on to a PNM till I die or UNC till I die, that is going to be the deciding factor. If not, we will still have done what was required, given persons that third choice. Again, I wish to express my disappointment that political parties have accused these third-party supporters of splitting the votes, of saying that you're a PNM B team. You're fastened out of place. The votes do not belong to you. If they vote for any of the other 15 political parties other than the PNM and UNC, it's because they do not want to vote for you. Understand. You cannot have a cosmetic approach of a coalition where you take your 19 seats that you have, you take the other 8 possible seats that you could win, and give the other parties seats that you have never won in 36 years and call it a coalition. That's a UNC government. We had no intention to be involved in political domestic violence where you want to use us, try to fool the floating voters to say this is a coalition. It's a coalition of Kamala's interests. We have to do what is required. I have no intention to be associated with individuals who have spent their time attacking, discrediting, saying the nastiest things about people. Good morning, Philip Alexander, how are you? And we have no intention for that type of politics. If people want to vote for that, well then vote for the UNC. We have no intention to go down the gutter. Our intention is to try to build and unite Trinidad and Tobago, not to divide. And again, it has to do with accessibility. There are certain political leaders, they'll never be on a morning show like this unless it starts at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I intend to make myself accessible, be walking the length and breadth of this country. The same way I did as a commissioner of police, I intend to find a way to unite Trinidad and Tobago. And let me quickly add, if come Monday, the country does not accept bringing in that third party, we would have done our job by giving them representation. And if it is that, as speaking for Gary Griffith, if it is that I would not have won my seat, I am still prepared to let the country know that I am prepared to serve my country as my country sees fit. Having said that, let it be known and make it emphatically clear. One political leader said she has no intention to work with me. So for the whole country, everybody loves Gary. Everybody believes that Gary can make them safer. So in other words, if it is you vote for that party, then everybody loses.
Yeah. Gary Griffith, Nicolene,
yes,
it's a pleasure speaking with you all this morning. We wish you all the best in the election.
Thank you.
Bye for